Hi guys! Today I wanted to talk a little bit about mental health because that is a huge, sad thing throughout the world, and I don't think a lot of people put much emphasis on mental health as they should. So, mental health is one of the greatest battles that people have to go through on this earth because Jesus had the worst mental health battle of them all. I mean, just look at the crucifixion, his fear, the way people tormented him in the mind. The devil tempted him in the desert. He had all sorts of things battling inside of him, and no one really talks about it that much. There's a reason why the crown of thorns was one of his greatest sufferings, because it is a deep pain, the searing pain that comes from being attacked mentally, morally, and any way that inflicts the mind. And a lot of people like to ignore it as not being very much important as, I would say, physical health, but that's what's ironic, is that this ignorance actually makes it worse, and possibly even worse than something that would feel physical, because it has to do with your entire body. It affects your nervous system, your mind, the way you think, everything that has to do with you, and your emotional stability. Those things are what, your brain controls everything that you do. So if that's affected, then your entire body is affected. I'm no exception to this mental health because I had to deal with a lot of trauma, a lot of abusive things that really felt like they messed with my brain, and it caused me to feel like I was losing myself to all this pain and confusion occurring within my mind. And so if you've listened to my introductions and context video, my first episode on this podcast, then you kind of will understand why. I had a really horrible school experience, being the quiet kid and stuff, and just being in society. I don't know why there's such a negativity around being quiet, but it's very real. It's not just a joke online about being an introvert. It's actually, there is a lot of animosity towards quiet people. And I should know because I had to deal with that every single day of my life, and I'm still dealing with it. But I believe God uses the people that struggle with mental health to do something very beautiful. And you know how God likes to work in quiet ways, in hidden ways? He finds a place in quiet people to plant himself to do this work, this special work within them. And for example, he let me go through the fire of being the quiet kid, so I would actually have sympathy and motivation to help all those who are oppressed for being quiet. If you experience something for yourself, it makes it real and, actually tangible to understand, especially if other people are going through it. So once you have the ability to understand something, that is way more precious than you realize. Being able to understand someone is something a lot of people are not given. They don't get understanding from other people a lot of the time. And so if you have that understanding to give, you have given them way more help than you realize. And sometimes we need to let God work on us before we're ready to do bigger things like that, like helping other people. He wants to prepare us for that. So, he's a planner and a really organized and good father. So we need to give him patience and trust we know that he knows what he's doing, which is actually really hard. But if you let him work on you and give you time to prepare for the greater tasks of actually helping others in the world, that should be enough motivation for you, because it's helping other souls. So when I take my experience, my bad experience at school or wherever I go, I will apply that to whoever I'm talking to and see if I can help them. Just like anyone I run into during my time, outside or anywhere I go, really. If I hear someone feel bad for being introverted, or I'm too quiet, I need to be more sociable, people don't like me, I'll instantly tell them why they're beautiful just the way they are, why quietness is beautiful, and how it applies to God, and then they'll be like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Because they need to know that the meek, they also inherit and are rightly part of the earth, as Jesus spoke in the Beatitudes. Jesus was a meek person, and you might think, how was he meek? Because he went out and spoke to all the crowds of God's word and everything. He spoke on the mount, and you're like, he's meek? No, he was meek in a way that was humble. He wasn't always talking over people. He spoke when he had something to say. And being quiet doesn't mean you never speak at all. It means you speak in the right moments you feel most comfortable, in the right moments where you feel someone needs to hear what they need to hear in order to make them feel better. Being meek is nothing negative. It's something where you carefully calculate what you say, and it actually is a really good thing to add to this world, because it shows that you observe first, you wait first before you speak, and usually that helps you say the right thing rather than the wrong thing. You know, sometimes we know what it's like to feel pushed like Jesus did out of the home and almost off the cliff unwelcomed, because people didn't like how he was speaking the truth. And most of the time, we don't like to speak nonsense, we like to speak the truth, because that's the most important thing to say. Sometimes being put through misunderstanding and people falsely accusing you and gaslighting you helps you more understand the life of Jesus more than any other prayer could, because it's almost like you're being put in Jesus' shoes in your own life. It's like a special way he connects with you is by relating your life to his, and then you can almost relive some of his feelings in your own life when you let him in. Like, he helps you learn how to trust truth when this happens. And I really believe this way, this very intimate, close relationship that blooms from this, helps you love the faith more and want to spend time with God more every second of every day. And I know that when you suffer, especially mentally, you can feel like you're not enough, you can feel like you're way too small, you can feel like people don't love you, because you're focused on all this outside distractions, all these negativity that cause you to hate yourself, that cause you to doubt yourself. But remember that all those negative things that you're thinking about yourself, it's all coming from around you, outside of you, in the world. It's not you. It's not God causing it. It's the devil, because he is messing this world up. He's trying his best to. He's not going to win because God already has victory. But I want you to understand that all negativity, that entire word, comes from evil. It has nothing to do with the goodness and graciousness of God. God turns bad things into good. So when you realize that, you can stand by the truth that God sees you as somebody valuable, someone worth saving, somebody that has a role in this world that's just as important as anyone else you see on TV or in like a famous place that owns a business. You don't need to own anything, because God loves you. He's the owner of your heart. So, why did I laugh like that? I literally went, oh my goodness. But anyway, like I said, he's the owner of your heart. That he's, I am really glitching right now. Hold on a second. So yeah, you don't need to own anything, because God owns your heart. And that is all you need to care about. Even though today is just modern and you feel like it's completely distanced from the old traditional stories of the saints, and it's all technical and technology like I've been telling you about, you can still be a saint. You can be a saint and follow Jesus and break free from society. It's okay to be quiet and gentle. It's okay to stand out from the crowd. And whatever pain life throws at you, catch it and just throw back hope. And I believe I've told you that before, but it's good to just tell you again, because sometimes we forget. We listen and then we just forget. But that's why I'm here to put it back in your brain. God changes our sadness and anger to motivation, to change people and become an evangelist, especially in your own families, or social media is a great way to do it, like St. Carlo taught us. We're so lucky to have him, because he showed us that modern people can be saints. So you can't say they can't. Just think about him, and he was canonized literally earlier this year, so you can't literally say anything. And just start sharing. Just share everything you learn, even if it's not to thousands of people, because you know that God wants others to know, especially if he inspires you, no matter the number. One soul saved or whose heart is opened is a mighty accomplishment itself in God's eyes. He will leave the 99 to find the one. You know, just because it's modern day doesn't mean the faith is old or traditional rules that people dread. It's richly beautiful and just as meaningful, and God is just as close as he was back in the day. Even more so, actually, because of all these new distractions. So just think about that. There's so many distractions that God is going to be even more present now. Like how it says in the Acts of Apostles, chapter 4, verse 20, it is impossible for us not to speak about what we have seen and heard. You know, when Peter and John were trying to be silenced when they spoke about Jesus, they couldn't be quiet. They had to keep going. You know, they kept going to all the different places, just speaking it. Peter got captured in the prison, and then an angel let him out just so he could talk more and keep doing what he was doing. Like, nothing can stop you, even if you're in the most scary situation, if you're about to be put to death. I like to think about it in more of like a sassy way, like, just try me, people. Just try me. Keep it coming, because I'm going to keep talking. Like, take that. Because it's for a good reason, and that's why I think about it as all silly. Like, all distractions are just silly. Because it's like, who are you to tell me why I can't talk? Especially if it's for God. Then you have, like, no way to silence me. And no one should be able to silence you. And also, when we think about the Passion, it's good to think about this. We can't just sit here and expect to go to heaven. Like, yeah, we're saved, and believing in Jesus means we're saved, but that just feels very stale when you just leave it at that. We can't expect Jesus to be the only one who has worked on the group project. We need to work and strive to go there, because that means we care and we actually want it. And we actually want to continue what Jesus started. We're not just waiting for the prize. We want to be able to do things that gather more people, that help other people be able to have it too. Because there's so many people that don't believe in Jesus. And when you just accept that you might be able to go, and you don't even know that, it's good to believe, but that means you're taking more of a selfish view of it. Because we're all supposed to be working on this project of bringing love back to the earth, and when you only let one other person do that for you, that's not the best thing, I think, to view it as. And that doesn't mean worrying about going to heaven at all. You should just be focusing on your relationship with God. It doesn't matter what you do, it just means how you do it. Don't be distracted from your God-given daily duties, like, oh crap, now I have to have a relationship with God. No, like, incorporate it in your daily duties, like St. Carlo did. He thought about God when he was playing video games, when he was with his friends, when he was out on the school bus praying the rosary. He just incorporated it into where he already was and made it better. So it should always be in your thoughts and prayers to always be a good person at every instant of your life, before you speak, before you think, before you do anything. But don't worry about it. If you just kind of let it flow into your life, you will always make the right choice if you ask God first, what shall I do? And if you don't get the obvious answer, think about what Jesus would say or do, and then, of course, it will be easier to find it there, because it's Jesus you're talking about. It's really cool when you teach yourself discipline. Fasting is discipline for food and does help you spiritually, but emotional discipline and the discipline of being slow to anger or other common human reactions really helps us be more like Christ. It's amazing how when I go out in the world after practicing this discipline and I see how easy it is for others to get angry on the road or immediately want to defend themselves in a conversation, and it immediately gets heightened just like that. And I'm like, wow, like this could all be avoided so easily if we all just practice this discipline. And it's not easy at first. It's not. Don't get me wrong, but it gets easy. It becomes natural when you really, really make it a priority. This life is very much like a ship. Like how the crew on a ship is constantly managing the vessel over every obstacle so that it comes out on top, so should we. The butterfly doesn't stay in the cocoon because it is comfortable. The butterfly spends time working so that they will become the best version of themselves that they can possibly become. And they will fly beautifully up into the heavens. I thought that I had to accomplish all my dreams to reach people, but maybe you're just supposed to reach accomplishing being a good person. Being good teaches and reaches others enough, just being out there, just doing your daily things. And that's because when you're just being you and doing your daily routine, that's the most real human thing going on. Even the famous people have their daily routines that people don't see, and that's where you're really truly yourself. You don't have to pretend. And so when you're in that environment and you bring these almost extraordinary ways of disciplining yourself and like the way you present yourself to others in a godly, holy way is way effective because you're doing it in a real, meaningful, genuine way and not like performing it for thousands of people. You're performing it for those who actually need it. And it's not performance, it's letting God transform you and making that goodness, making that way of living possible and actually real. And underline that word, real. It's possible to be that good. I remember when people would come up to me at school. I was like 10 years old and they're like, "How are you so nice?" And I'm like, "I am?" Like, I wasn't even trying, but that's what it should be like. Like, I want to be able to be like that all the time. I know I'm not, but if you're able to do that a lot, that is amazing, because then it causes people to ask that question. It inspires them to be able to do it for themselves because they see it's possible and real. They don't just see more people angry and tired at life and they feel like they have to be that way too. No, you can be joyful at life, you can love life, you can be excited about life, and every day is like a new adventure. And if you share that with someone else, then that one day, even if it's for one day, they'll be able to have that same adventure that you're having. One smile is such a gift because it transfers God's light to another person in a single moment. How powerful is that? More than being known to millions. You just brighten that person's day. My favorite light-spreading gift is laughter. So, like, what I love about laughter is that even though when the actual laughing part is over, it's still stuck in the smile. I feel like I've told you guys this already, but you know what? I just gotta share it. Because God placed you where you are for a reason, to help your brothers and sisters around you. So if someone like your mean neighbor hates you when you're doing nothing wrong, then you're probably doing the right thing. Like Mother Angelica said, congratulations, you've got enemies. That means you're doing something right. Hopefully. Many people don't like the right thing or the right way because they look at it in the wrong way. They feel like it puts them on the spot or they feel guilty about themselves, but humility is key. And I've been through so much on-the-spot humiliating moments that I honestly don't care anymore how I seem. If I did something wrong, I own it. There's no sense in harboring untruthful things within yourself. You'll never find peace if you do that. So let there be peace in your heart and Jesus fill you up with it. Actually, I think mental health has a lot to do with how others think. Sometimes it's how you think about yourself, what others think about you, and you worry about what God thinks about you. And all these things don't need to be there. A lot of the time, we don't have the people that we need to talk to help us through it, but Jesus is the best person to talk to about it. Sometimes I think we just need to let go, and it's so hard wanting to control everything as a human being, but when you really let go and surrender to God and just have this I don't care attitude, kind of like an emo kid, it helps you. It really helps your mental health, because then God lifts all this burden off of you. And when you think about it, Jesus had to go through the passion, but he didn't bring all these unnecessary burdens that we put on ourselves. He let go of all these things that could mess with him, and he did suffer from them, and he did feel the feelings, but he didn't let them completely crush him. And I think that is one of the reasons why he was so strong, because he was able to let go, so he was able to endure the passion. And that is incredible. For a human being, he's God, but he was also a human being. So just think about how crazy is that. That's amazing. And receiving the sacraments is a way that God puts himself in front of us, ready to be received by us, so we can better do these hard things that he was able to do. Because then he truly plants himself within us and grows with us, so we can do almost our own little passions in our life. Baptism is letting him put his seal on you as his child. A seal. So, like, you can't break a seal, man. Especially a royal seal from heaven. Confirmation is letting him into your heart and accepting the special gifts that he gave the apostles for evangelizing. So this will help you be able to transform all those dark feelings into something good, into light for others. Confession helps clean the soul and offers up our sorrow to God as a way to further heal and solidify our covenant with him. So we'll be able to feel the right feelings when we go to confession. We become better human beings, people that feel rather than people that judge or hate. Receiving or adoring the Eucharist allows us to actually go and be in Jesus' real presence, acquiring knowledge, comfort, love, and wisdom from him. That one's probably the best one of all because it's literally Jesus right in front of your face. You can't deny it, man. He's right there, and I have to say, I've been given so many realizations and comforts from being in the Eucharist. And a lot of people are like, it's just a piece of bread. No, he's actually, he's disguised himself under that presence of bread and wine. He has everything built on believing without seeing. That is the whole point, man, is that love transcends. Love goes beyond what we already know as human beings, and isn't that a gift in itself, to be able to know of this love that is beyond our understanding, but we're able to receive it? I think that's a gift in itself. I mean, that's amazing that we get that, we get to have that, and that we get to know that. But all of these sacraments combined create a free super mega ticket to be transformed into Jesus, and people don't even realize it. And that's why we need to share it with our brothers and sisters. Mary, our mother, is also like another really cool way. She's the surest way to Jesus. So consecrating ourselves to her will draw us closest than we can possibly be from a saint. If you really take all of these things and actually use them, you will never be sorry. Because I went and I did every single one, and every single one has something amazing to add to your soul to make it better. And I'm not lying, it actually transformed me. I think about how I was 10 years ago, and I literally don't recognize myself. And that might seem dramatic, but I literally cannot physically, mentally recognize myself. I feel completely different, like a completely different soul almost. Even though it was still me, but I feel completely different. And I can't say I don't know what it was, because I know exactly what it was. It was from God. Jesus proves to all of us that he is true family. He wants to give us this new concept of a true family that we've never known before. One that loves beyond what the concept of love, like I said, is. One that is patient more than the concept of patience and all the virtues, because he's never left. And I don't think people realize how kind and amazing Jesus really is for this. The more he's taught me to be more like God, the easier it's been for me to love everyone, even the people who hurt me. And that's when I think about how he thought about everyone. He said once that every soul was his favorite, and he had unimaginable love for each one. Think about how much grace and love that requires, especially after his brutal death. His patience surpasses this world's by a whole nother level. Even though he did get angry when people treated him and his disciples wrongly, he didn't take their crap, but he almost pleaded with them and used it as an opportunity to preach God's invitation of love. He still gave them an invitation. He didn't completely deny them. And I think that's why God feels such an important closeness to the word forgotten, because he experienced a lot of denial. And that's why us believing him and accepting him and not denying him lets us be saved. And we were like, why is it so simple? Well, there's so much pain that comes from being denied, because it means that you basically want nothing to do with you, no matter how much you want to do with them. And it's like being forgotten about and being cast aside, even if you show someone so much love, that is like terrible. And so God experienced that pain now, in the past, all the time. That was like the number one thing that he always had to suffer with. And so of course he transformed that into something good for us, because if we don't deny people, then he'll bring us home. It's that whole thing became a ticket for us to go home. And I don't like to think about it necessarily as a ticket, but like an invitation. And he's not even like a God that pushes himself onto people. Like, he'll invite us, but he like still respects our free will. And it's amazing, because the free will should really be to love God and to be with him, because that's the only way to be saved. Yet he still lets us choose, which is insane, even though we really shouldn't be able to. But it's so like our relationship with him is purer. It's more meaningful, more real, like I've said. More real. Growing up means something different in the society, that you have to drop all your childlike stuff. Like, you might like playing with dolls, or just looking at joy with like innocent little joy, and people look down on that as you age. But growing up under God means something different. This is why he is so amazing, that he loves everyone for all their different quirks, because he wants you to be able to be mature in a human moral way, and also a spiritual divine-like way. But that doesn't mean giving up all your like childness or anything like that. It's just being a good person is all he really cares about, and how you treat others. Like how God plants a seed, he waters it and shines his rays of grace upon it. It grows higher and higher as he sweetly speaks with it until it reaches the heights of heaven. So you really don't have to do anything but let him take care of you and believe it and welcome it. And that's it. Like, it's way more simple than a lot of people make it out to be. Even though it's simple, there's so many cool details surrounding it. But we don't have to like focus on every single little detail. We just have to focus on God, and that just everything goes from there. Like, we just automatically understand everything. And not like all at once, but I mean like he immediately will just like go through your entire soul, and just like everything changes, and then you get all this understanding, and you'll be able to learn more things. But it's always built upon this little simple foundation of love. Something that I've always admired about Jesus and his mother Mary is their pure sweetness, especially when Jesus embraces the children and he's like, the kingdom is meant for them, and then Mary's tender love of keeping everything close to her heart. I've always loved the sound of that word, sweetness. It's just so cute and humble, and I think it has a different meaning next to kindness, but it's just as important. I feel like kindness is Jesus' way of always loving others and choosing to help others even though you have the option not to. It has a courageous connotation in accordance to that, but sweetness, on the other hand, I think is one of the gifts produced for kindness. People can still be kind, but not really want to fully be that way in a moment, or feel like they had to and wasted their energy, even though they did do a good thing. But something is missing. Like, sweetness elevates kindness because it means that the love you decide to treat others with is pure and comes wholly without reserve from your heart. I like to think when you're sweet, you're simple. You're not thinking of yourself. You're choosing to love and push forth that love and exercise it and use it to intentionally make someone else happy. And people aren't used to that. I've noticed that when I'm exercising this in my daily life, people will say, she's so sweet or something, and I'll be like, they'll say specifically sweet every time, and not just kind, and it makes me think about that, because they're not used to it. They know that it's meaning something, it's genuine. And that's why it's hard to tell people they are awesome or give them a compliment, because the world feels it's better unsaid, but it moves mountains when you do hand them a little sweetness cupcake here and there. When you do that, you are filled with the Holy Spirit, and he's usually the one who encourages us to do such nice things or have sweet ideas to spread God's goodness and love to other people. It's so humble, and it gives you this, like, purity of heart that goes beyond what you can think or feel. It's like the childlike wanting to express your love innocently and purely in the realest and most beautiful way that others might be too self-conscious to express. Being sweet is letting Jesus take over your heart to transform your kindness into something that feels like you just ate a unicorn cupcake, but you're actually helping someone else, and that's just as good. And that might seem like a random comparison, but who wouldn't love a unicorn cupcake? Anyway, just let Jesus take over your heart. Don't think about the cupcake thing too much. But let him make it sweet. Let the sweetness fill up the kindness, and let the kindness transform another soul. Because now it's done with pure love, and now it's something, you know what I mean? And in addition to more symbolism in the word, while I was meditating on my Lenten prayer books, I learned about the small group John mentioned that was by the cross with Jesus while he was dying. I think I told you guys about this before, but all the women were named Mary, and Mary's relative was there, who was also associated with Mary. I felt like there had to be a reason why they were all so closely associated with each other, and I realized that Mary means full of grace. Mary was the most faithful and the closest to Jesus, making her the person who received the most grace from God. The fact that they were all named Mary and that they were standing the closest to the cross until the end shows how important a role model Mary is for showing us on how to be faithful to God's calling even in the most difficult of times. And actually, when I wrote this down the first time I learned about it, I heard a dove outside. It also shows that those that strive to be close to Jesus and be at his feet, right under the cross, receive his mercy, receive the greatest grace of all, which is forgiveness of our sins and eternal redemption. And just as Jesus ascended to heaven, his mother closest to him, who heeded his every word, ascended as well. Because Mary shows us the way to follow Jesus. Because Mary shows us the way to follow Jesus with our own crosses and die with him no matter the consequences, even if it is hard. She shows us the way to heaven. She was the one with the most tears and most compassion and understanding for God, and she wants us to realize how much God loves us. So the least we can do is to dry her tears and console her heart encircled with those thorns, because she also understands mental health. I mean, you can't get worse than the Blessed Mother when you think about mental health in the saints, because being the mother of God, she had to watch her own son die, and that's like a suffering on top of also being able to go through all the insults and misunderstandings just as Jesus did of people around her. She had to deal with lots of similar things we probably haven't even heard about, but she had a lot, and so she's good to pray for mental health too. But we shouldn't worry about if someone says something mean to us, because I like to think of it like you are mistaken. When they say something about you, just say you are mistaken, and you don't have to stand there and just take it, because you don't have to take it. You have the dignity of your own human person to not deal with what other people say about you. And I know the harder thing is when your own self is attacking yourself. Tell your own self you are mistaken, because it's not you telling you that. It's the devil, and he tries to disguise himself everywhere, even in your own person, to tell you bad things. He's not possessing you, I'm not saying that, but he'll invade your thoughts in everything that you can possibly think of. That's why he's so sneaky, and we need to be on our guard more. But when we trust God, he will protect us, and we won't have to worry too much about it. But just think about that. Just say you're mistaken, and just leave it at that, and just keep to those words. Say them over and over in your head. Say the Hail Mary, say the Our Father, and keep trying, because it's not easy. Sometimes it feels like we're falling, but at least try to fall into God's hands, and don't fall on the ground. In addition to all the ladies named Mary that show us something by staying at the foot of the cross during the Passion, remember the story of Martha and Mary. The one named Mary was at Jesus' feet, listening to his word. And so that means something too, that she was also kind of at the foot of the cross, at the foot of Jesus, listening and staying with him. He wants to pull us out of the busyness of the world to the quiet comfort and peace of his presence. And when you think about it, all these little details keep jumping out at me. The ones that people might not have specifically talked about in the Bible, but have you ever noticed that the place of the skull, Golgotha, is far away from the city, but yet that's where the most powerful thing in all of human history happened, is when Jesus died for us. It's like completely in the middle of nowhere, like far away from the city, far away from the busyness of life. And all the people that stayed, like I said, were similar, were the most filled with grace because they knew the most important thing was away from this world. It was beyond what we knew, what we already were comfortable with, and it was Jesus. And Jesus will help you become so good that you'll be able to feel like not even the most evil person deserves the worst evils of the world to be done to them, because every person still has the chance during their life to be better. So if you hope that for them and pray for them, that's like amazing, something amazing you can do for that person. I mean, Paul is the best example. I feel bad for keep bringing him up, but I'm sure he would be fine with it because he had a total transformation. He was a murderer. He hated Christians. And then he became like one of the best evangelists in all of church history. And he like loved so much. That's amazing. That's what Jesus can do to you. So to have hope for those that hate you or people you don't necessarily like, and like to wish that goodness to be produced for them, is a great gift you can give them. I like to think of everyone as my brother or sister. Like, no, I'm not going to go up and hug every stranger I see, but it helps me to love everyone, even if they hate me, so I can learn more closely how to love like Jesus Christ. I don't like to say I hate anyone, because I've already decided they are my family, so it's easier to love them than to dislike them. And if you're being mentally challenged by someone, especially close to you, you're allowed to keep distance from them if they're not willing to be loving and change. You know, Jesus kept distance from those that didn't like him, but he still extended an invitation. Like, you can extend the invitation to them, and if they don't want to accept it, you don't have to stay there. You can shake the dust off your feet and leave like the disciples did. And that's okay. You're still showing love by removing yourself and keeping yourself safe and away from them. So sometimes your distance might help because it allows God to work on them with you out of the way. Like, not out of the way, but like, you extended the invitation. Now it's God's job to see if they will accept it. You know what I mean? So they might have more space to think about how they treated you or treated others while you were gone, because, you know, you gave them the last word. Now they just have to ponder about it. Ultimately, it's up to them to change. At that point, you've done everything you could to keep love alive and real and genuine within them, and it's not your fault if they don't choose to be a person of love. It seems unfair, but Jesus had to do it. And strangely, keeping this distance brings peace to your soul, to keep loving souls, even the ones with the most hatred, because it means you're trying to be pure in every aspect of how you think of and act towards other people. And that's something to be celebrated, because it's really hard. But how beautiful must your soul be if you choose to be and exist in that way? You're like being like Jesus. You're emanating Jesus. And the more you let his love glow from you, the more you have space for him to direct your heart and increase the beauty of your soul. And Jesus is so good and so beautiful in that way. And God made us to be like him. Not just outside appearance, but inside. Inside structure. And it's our choice whether to say yes to that or not. Just like Mother Mary did. I'm going to stop here because it's getting a little long, and I don't want to have a bunch of me talking and you guys are like, when is this going to be over? But sometimes when I get on a roll, I can't stop. So I might have to split this into 2 parts or start a new one. You know, I'll figure it out. So thank you for tuning in, and I love you guys very much. God loves you. Thank you for listening. If you've come this far, I know it's long, but thank you so much.